Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome to another session. So in this session, we are going to learn about asynchronous programming in .NET Core. Okay. What is asynchronous programming? So basically, in the .NET Core, whatever APIs we used to return, that should be a async API. Why async API? Because whatever business logic we will do here, that business logic might take some time, and that kind of code our main thread should not do. Main thread should be free for doing the background jobs. In order to do the background jobs, it should create a new child thread. Okay. And meanwhile, if your main thread is free, he can basically uh, serve two more requests. It will improve the performance, and it can we can call the parallel APIs at the same time. Okay. So same server can process the parallel API calls, and the background logic your child threads can do. Now you can see this save book API is not the async API. I can convert this to the async like this. So if you want to convert this API to the async, you will require one async keyword here. Okay. If you want to return something, that should be in a task like this. Okay. And whatever method you are going to write in the book service, you are having this save book method. It should be async method. You can just postpick here async to understand whether it is async or not. And whatever you are returning, that should be in a task again. Task bool. Okay, this is your async method. Now wherever you implemented this method, you implemented this book service class in the two things, right? Audiobook, ebook. So I'm going to write in the ebook controller. We can just remove the reference of the audiobook from here, exclude from project. Okay, so it is just returning the error. Why? Because your save book method should not be synchronous, it should be async method. So that's why here you will have to add async keyword, and this bool should be converted to the task like this. Okay. And this add and this save changes is actually a time consuming task. Here we are actually making the database call. So wherever you are having the async keyword, you should have await keyword somewhere in the business logic of your method, and this should call the async method of the save changes like this. So basically your main thread will not do the save changes logic. This logic will be handled by child thread, new child thread. So wherever you will put your await keyword, at the same line, it will basically create one new thread, and that new thread will handle rest of the logic. And meanwhile, your main thread can do some additional work by in order to serve the request to other APIs. Okay, so main thread will not be busy with doing such kind of background things. It will handle by child thread, and main thread will do some additional logic or some additional work for other APIs. Okay, so basically if you want to implement the async APIs, your method should have the async keyword somewhere. Then your method should have the task as a return type, and somewhere in the business logic you will have the await keyword. Somewhere means wherever you know this is the complex logic or this is the time consuming logic, and it might take some time, provide the await keyword there. It will run this logic in a child thread. Okay. Now this save method is written in the iService here. This iService we are calling from the book controller. Now we can call that function like this. And again, as your this method having the async as a keyword here, task as a return type, put your await keyword here. So once you put the await keyword here, whole business logic will run in the child thread. Okay. And then as main thread can wait here. So line number 45, your main thread will take accept this request, will call the save book async method in a background thread, and will wait for the response. Meanwhile, main thread will serve for other requests. If someone call the get book info, someone call the update book, main thread will serve those requests and will wait here. And then eventually, as soon as your API, this function returns some result, main thread will just return the response to the actual caller. So basically, this will improve the performance. We can make the parallel API calls. Okay, so that's why we should do the async programming with the .NET Core APIs. So how to implement that? What all things to note? First thing is your method should have async keyword. Your method should have a task as a return type. And wherever we are having a complex time consuming logic, we should have the await keyword there. That's it. Okay. So this is how we can just basically implement the asynchronous functions or asynchronous web APIs with your uh, .NET Core APIs. So let me do one thing. Why it is returning error? Ebook does not implement the interface member async. Yeah, this method name should be async. Okay, this is just a optional, right? In order to understand, like in order to determine whether this is async method or synchronous method, you can just postpick async keyword here. This is not mandatory, but this is good to have. Okay. Now, if you run this project, it will return the same result. It will not change anything, but it will return the result quickly as we are doing the parallel APIs call. So I will show you that. So we call the get book, try it out, execute. This is the result. Okay. Where is that book result? We got the success 200. Okay. Okay. We have implemented in the save book actually, not the get book. So let's do call this one save book, try it out. .NET Core price is 500, author ID is 1, type I don't want to pass, but let's pass 1, no problem. And in author I wanted to pass null. Click on the execute, continue. We have saved the book successfully. You can see we got the response very quickly because of the async. At the same time, see, if you call the 10 API calls, one is save book, one is update book, one is get book. If you call the 10 different API calls at the same time, it will not take much time. It will execute the all these 10 APIs in parallel. It will not wait for the response for first API and then call second API. It is not synchronous. It is async. You can call 10 different APIs in one go in parallel. Okay. So that's why this will be a more performant than a synchronous manner. Okay. Let me stop the recording. You can discuss.